My fiancé texted, "I'm not in love with you anymore." I replied, "Thanks for the heads up." Then I moved on. Welcome back with a new real shock story. Before we start, comment and tell me which city you're watching from. At the end, don't forget to subscribe and rate it from 0 to 10. Let's enjoy the story, everyone.
It started like any other day. I woke up, coffee brewing in the kitchen, sunlight slipping through the blinds, dust dancing in the air. I thought everything was normal. I thought life was safe. I thought love was steady. But I was wrong. My life, it was built on what I believed was a perfect foundation. I had him, my fiancé, my partner, my best friend. We had been together for 3 years, and everyone said we were perfect. I told myself that too. I pictured our future like a painting. A white house with roses in the garden, laughter spilling from the walls. A life stitched together with shared dreams. We planned everything. Small things, like weekends away. Big things, like where we'd live after we married. Every night, we talked about the future. We made plans in whispers over warm dinners. We laughed about names for kids we didn't even know we wanted yet. I thought we were untouchable. But underneath the quiet nights and shared smiles, something was changing. I didn't see it at first. Maybe because I was too wrapped up in my own version of love. I never noticed the subtle shifts. The way he sometimes looked away when I spoke. The quiet silences that lasted just a little too long. I guess I should have. Then came the message. 5 words that destroyed everything. I don't love you anymore. That's all. No explanation. No goodbye. Just those 5 words sitting on my phone screen like an accusation. I stared at it. My coffee went cold. My hands shook. My world stopped. I kept reading it again and again, as though the meaning would change. But it never did. I called him. Nothing. Texted him. Nothing. Hours went by, each one heavier than the last. I replayed every conversation we'd had over the last months, searching for signs, for clues. There were none. When I finally saw him in person the next day, everything felt different. The air between us was heavy, almost sharp. I asked him what happened. He said he didn't know. He said he had been feeling something change for months, but couldn't explain why. That his love just wasn't there anymore. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted answers. But he just looked at me with a kind of emptiness I had never seen before. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed everything. I went through our old messages, scrolling endlessly, searching for a reason. Then I found something that didn't add up. It was subtle, but it was enough to make my stomach knot. The next morning, I confronted him. He avoided my eyes. He said nothing. That silence was worse than the message itself. I knew then that there was more to this story, something he wasn't telling me. I decided I wouldn't let it go. I had to know the truth. What followed was weeks of quiet investigation. I asked mutual friends questions. I revisited places we had been. I replayed conversations in my head, looking for pieces I had missed. Every answer seemed to lead to more questions. The deeper I dug, the more unsettling the picture became. And then one night, I got a message from someone I didn't know very well. It wasn't long, just a few words. But those words shook me to my core. They hinted at something I couldn't ignore, something dangerous, something that could change everything. I didn't sleep that night. I kept turning the words over in my mind. I thought about confronting him again, but I also knew that once I stepped into this truth, there was no turning back. When I saw him again, it wasn't just about us anymore. It was about something far bigger. And in that moment, I realized that my world was about to shatter completely. I remember the next morning like it was a wound that still hasn't healed. I woke up with a strange heaviness, the kind that presses down on your chest and doesn't let you breathe properly. My phone buzzed before I even opened my eyes. It was that same unknown number. I stared at it for what felt like forever. My heart was pounding, part fear, part desperation. Finally, I opened it. The message was short. Meet me, tomorrow night, alone. There was no name, no explanation, no way to know who it was. But something inside me knew I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't walk away from this. Not now. That day felt endless. Every sound felt louder. Every glance I caught in the mirror made me question myself. I kept replaying his words from the cafe, the emptiness in his eyes, the silence, the way he said he had no choice. That phrase haunted me. All day, I tried to keep myself busy. I pretended to work, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. My thoughts kept drifting back to the message. Who had sent it? What was it about? And why was it connected to him? When night fell, I dressed carefully. I wasn't sure why. I just knew I needed to be ready for whatever this was. The cafe was quiet when I arrived, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like something is waiting just beneath the surface. I sat at a corner table, my hands wrapped tightly around a cup of tea. Minutes later, a shadow moved toward me. I looked up and saw her. She was someone I recognized, one of his friends. Her face was pale, her hands shaking. She sat down without a word. Finally, she spoke. "Alec, you don't know the whole story." Her voice trembled. My chest tightened. I leaned forward. "What do you mean?" She swallowed hard. "There are things he's been hiding from you. From everyone. Things that could ruin lives." My mind spun. "What things? Tell me." She hesitated. Then, her voice dropped to a whisper. "It's not just about you. It's about him. And something bigger. Something dangerous." I felt my world tilt. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst. "What are you talking about?" I demanded. But she shook her head. "You'll find out soon enough. Just be careful." Before I could ask another question, she was gone. Just like that. I sat there, stunned, alone, my mind racing, my heart and still trembling. My phone buzzed again. A new message. This one wasn't from the unknown number. It was from him. 3 words. "We need to talk." But when I called him, he didn't answer. Not once. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at my phone. The words from his friend, the mysterious messages, they all collided in my mind. My life had become a puzzle with pieces missing, and I didn't know if I wanted to finish it. The next day, I decided I had to confront him. I couldn't live in this waiting, this silence. I went to the place we had always called ours, a small park bench near the lake. It was where we'd spent countless afternoons talking about everything and nothing. But when I got there, he wasn't waiting. Instead, there was another message. This time, it was longer. It said, "Alec, I wish I could tell you everything, but it's not safe. I can't protect you if I do. Meet me tonight. One last time. By the old bridge. Don't bring anyone." My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone. I stared at it for what felt like forever. The words burned into me. Something was happening, something I didn't understand. But one thing was certain. I was going to that bridge. I didn't know if it would answer my questions or destroy me. And I didn't know if I was ready for what awaited me there. The whole day felt like it was dragging me towards something I couldn't stop. Every hour, every minute, I kept checking my phone. My hands felt numb, my mind replaying every word he had ever said to me, the laughter, the promises, the silences. And now, those 3 words were haunting me. We need to talk. When night finally came, I dressed quietly, almost mechanically. My heart felt like it was beating in my throat. I told myself I was doing this for closure, for answers, but deep down, I knew I wasn't prepared for what lay ahead. The bridge was isolated, the air was cold, and the sounds of water rushing beneath made my skin prickle. I stepped closer, my boots crunching on the gravel path, and there he was, standing there, under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight. His shoulders were tense, his head bowed. When he saw me, his eyes widened. "Alec," he breathed. I didn't speak. I just walked toward him. The silence between us was heavier than anything I had ever felt. Finally, I asked, "Why? Why did you end it like that?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at me like he was searching for the right words and not finding them. "It's complicated," he said at last. "More complicated than you can imagine." I took a deep breath. "Try me." He ran a hand through his hair, the kind of nervous gesture I'd seen only a few times before. "There are things I've been involved in, things I never wanted you to know, but you've stumbled into it now, and it's not safe for either of us." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about? What things?" Before he could answer, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at the screen. Another unknown message. My breath caught when I read it. "Leave now, before it's too late." I looked up at him, panic rising. "Who sent this?" He swallowed hard. "I can't tell you. You have to trust me." "Trust you? You walked away without a word. You left me. And now I'm supposed to trust you?" My voice cracked, and tears burned behind my eyes. "This doesn't make sense." He stepped closer, his voice low. "I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I was protecting you. But now, I don't know if I can." There was a sound behind us. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. I froze. He looked toward the darkness beyond the bridge, his face tightening. "They're here," he whispered. My heart pounded in my chest. "Who? What's happening?" Before he could answer, a figure emerged from the shadows. Another person, tall, unmoving, watching us. The air seemed to grow colder. My breath came in short bursts. He grabbed my hand. "We have to go, now." I hesitated. My mind screamed to run, but part of me wanted answers first. "I can't just leave without knowing." "Later," he said urgently. "There won't be a later if we stay." The urgency in his voice was enough to make me move. We walked briskly, but my mind was a storm. My head was spinning with questions. Who was chasing us? What had he hidden from me? And why was this happening now? We turned a corner, and suddenly the air was filled with whispers. Not words I could understand, just murmurs that felt cold and dangerous. The shadows seemed to close in. Then, without warning, a figure stepped into the path ahead. a silhouette I recognized instantly. It was her, the friend who had messaged me before. She stepped closer, and I could see the panic in her eyes. "You shouldn't be here," she said sharply. "Neither should you," I snapped back, still clutching his hand. She looked between us, her expression torn. "Alec, I'm trying to protect you, but he's in deeper than you realize. You can't help him." I shook my head. "Then tell me, I deserve the truth." Before she could answer, another message arrived on my phone. This time, it was different. It was longer, and it was from him. It said, "Alec, I'm sorry, but you have to run. Right now. Trust me. Don't look back." My breath caught. I looked at him, and in his eyes, I saw something I hadn't seen before. Fear. Real fear. And then the sound came. A low, metallic rumble. Footsteps multiplying behind us. Fast. Close. He pulled me toward the darkness beyond the bridge. "We don't have time," he said urgently. I wanted to ask him what was going on. I wanted to scream for answers, but the pounding of footsteps behind us drowned everything. We ran, my boots hitting the gravel, my heart pounding harder with every step. My mind was a storm of confusion, fear, and betrayal. I didn't know if I was running towards safety or straight into danger. And in that moment, I realized this was no longer just about love lost. This way is about survival. We didn't stop running until the sound of footsteps faded into nothing but the echo of my own breath. My chest felt like it was going to burst, and my legs shook so badly I could barely stand. The air was thick, cold, and sharp, cutting into my lungs every time I drew breath. He dragged me into an alley, pulling me behind a stack of crates. We crouched there, pressed together, and for a moment, there was only silence. My head was pounding, my mind screaming questions I couldn't voice. Finally, I whispered, "What is happening? Who were those people?" He shook his head, eyes darting toward the mouth of the alley. "I can't explain everything. Not yet. They'll hear us." I looked at him, searching his face for answers. What I saw there wasn't just fear. It was guilt. Deep, aching guilt. "Why didn't you tell me before?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Why did you leave me without a word?" He swallowed hard. "Because I thought it would protect you. But I was wrong. And now you're in this too." My heart sank. In this too? What does that even mean? Before he could answer, my phone vibrated again. I pulled it out and froze. Another message. This time it was a photo. It was me, standing here, from behind, taken moments ago. Someone had been following me all day, watching me. And worse, it wasn't just me. The photo showed both of us, from a distance, our faces half hidden in shadow. I felt my stomach drop. My hands shook so badly, I almost dropped my phone. "Who is doing this?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. He didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed my arm and pulled me deeper into the alley. "We need to move. Now." We ran again, twisting through narrow streets until we reached an abandoned building. It smelled of damp and rust, and the floor was covered in dust and broken glass. He pulled me inside and locked the door behind us. We sat in the darkness, the only sound my own shaky breathing. I stared at him, desperate for answers. "Tell me everything," I demanded. He looked down at his hands, then finally spoke. "I didn't tell you because I wanted to protect you from what I'm involved in. But it's bigger than you, Alec. bigger than me. There are people, dangerous people, who will stop at nothing to keep their secrets safe. And now, they know you exist. My mind was spinning. What do you mean? What secrets? He took a deep breath. I work with something I never wanted to. Something I thought I could control. But I was wrong. They found out about me, about us. And now they're going after anyone connected to me. My voice cracked. So, you left me to keep me safe? He nodded. I thought if I disappeared, you'd be out of danger. But they found you anyway. I felt tears burn in my eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Why not trust me to fight with you? Because I couldn't risk losing you, he said softly. But now, it's too late. We don't have a choice anymore. I looked at him, my chest aching with a mixture of fear, anger, and confusion. Then what now? Before he could answer, there was a loud crash, metal hitting concrete, followed by voices, low, dangerous, speaking in whispers I couldn't understand. He grabbed my hand again. This is it. We have to move before they find us. I nodded, my heart pounding. We slipped out through a side door, into a maze of dark streets. Every shadow felt alive. Every step was a risk. Somewhere behind us, a figure moved. I could hear it, slow, deliberate footsteps, getting closer. My pulse was racing so fast, I thought I'd collapse. Then he stopped abruptly. We split up, he whispered. It's the only way. They'll follow me, not you. I shook my head. No, I'm not leaving you. He looked at me with a pained expression. Alec, this isn't about us anymore. It's about survival. You have to run. Now. My mind was screaming, but before I could reply, there was a sudden rush of movement. A shadow lunging toward us, everything. G became chaos. I felt myself being pulled, shoved, dragged into darkness. My scream caught in my throat. The last thing I saw before we separated was his face, full of pain, regret, and something I couldn't name. And then, silence. When I opened my eyes, I was alone. The alley was empty. The air was thick with fear and dust. My phone was in my hand, still warm. My heart was pounding, but I couldn't think straight. Where was he? What had happened to him? And most of all, what had I just stepped into? Because I knew one thing for certain. This was far from over. And whatever was chasing him was now chasing me. I don't know how long I stood there, alone, breathing too fast. My mind was spinning like a storm, replaying everything over and over. The crash, the footsteps, his face, that look he gave me before we were pulled apart. It wasn't fear. It was something heavier, something like surrender. My phone buzzed again. My hands shook so badly, I almost dropped it. Another message. From him. No words. Just a location. Coordinates. And a single line. Find me. Before they do. My breath caught. I didn't even think before I started running. My legs moved on their own, guided by instinct and fear. I didn't know if I was running toward him, or straight into danger. Every street I turned down felt darker, every shadow heavier. I kept glancing over my shoulder, certain they were following me. But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Not until I reached that place. The coordinates led me to an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city. Broken windows, rusted metal, and silence that felt thick enough to suffocate me. I hesitated at the door, my breath visible in the cold night air. My phone buzzed again. Another message from him. Inside. Hurry. I pushed the door open, the hinges groaning like they were warning me to turn back. Inside, it was dark, except for a single beam of light far ahead. I stepped forward, every movement cautious. My heart pounded so loudly I thought they could hear it. Then I saw him, lying on the floor, blood staining his shirt. His eyes opened when I appeared, roached, and he tried to smile, but it was weak, broken. "Alec," he whispered. I dropped to my knees beside him. "What happened? Who did this?" My voice was shaking. He coughed, clutching my hand. "It was never supposed to end like this. I tried to keep you safe, but they knew. They always knew." I shook my head, tears falling. Who's after you?" He looked past me, toward the shadows at the edge of the warehouse. "You have to understand. It's bigger than us. It's not just about me or you. It's about everything I've uncovered. And now, they can't let the truth get out." I gripped his hand tighter. "Tell me, please. I can help." His breath was ragged. "There's no time. But you have to keep going. Don't let them win. You have to tell the world what happened." I felt my throat tighten. "I can't leave you." He smiled faintly, a broken, painful smile. "You have to, before it's too late." The sound came again. Footsteps, many of them, closing in. His eyes locked on mine. "Run." I hesitated, and then, before I could speak again, a figure stepped into the light. A man, tall, cold, silent, his face hidden in shadow. I felt him reach for me, but Alec pulled me away, even as his strength faded. "Go," he shouted. I turned to run, my boots pounding against the concrete floor, my breath tearing from me in ragged gasps. Behind me, I heard him call my name. My heart broke at the sound. I burst out into the night air, the cold hitting my face like a slap. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, it wasn't from him. It was from an unknown number. "Don't stop. They're coming for you next." I froze. My chest felt tight. The world around me seemed to vanish. Every instinct screamed at me to run faster. But I knew one thing. I couldn't stop. Not until I found the truth. Because whatever had started with him had now become my battle too. And I had no idea how it would end. I kept running, but every step felt heavier than the last. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. My ears rang with the echo of his voice. "Alec, run. Don't stop." Like it was carved into my head forever. The coordinates he'd sent me kept flashing in my mind. His last words weighed on me. Don't let them win. But who were they? And could I really stop them? I reached a narrow street, the only light coming from a dim street lamp swaying in the cold wind. My phone buzzed again. That unknown number, the same chilling message. "They're coming for you next." My breath caught. My hands trembled. Everything felt unreal. Love, trust, fear, and now the threat of death. All became my reality in one night. I wiped away tears, but didn't stop. My body moved on instinct. Every cell screamed, "Alec, keep going. You have to find the truth." I found myself outside an old, abandoned warehouse. It was the same place he had sent me to. The door hung half open. I stepped inside quietly. The air smelled of blood, rust, and something else I couldn't name. Then, I saw him. He was standing there, but he wasn't alive. His face was pale and calm, eyes closed. It was as if he had found peace after the fight. I fell to my knees beside him. My hand touched his, and it was cold. My whole body froze. Pain, anger, and helplessness crashed through me all at once. My phone buzzed again. A new message. They're watching you. Don't trust anyone. I couldn't move. My mind was spinning. I had only one choice. Stay silent or fight. He had told me. Tell the world. I knew telling the truth would put me in danger. But I owed it to him, to myself, and to everyone who had been silenced. I stepped out of the warehouse into the night. Darkness wrapped around me, but inside me burned something new. Courage. I decided I wouldn't be silent. I would tell the truth about what happened, who was behind it, and why they were hiding it. But as I stepped forward, I felt a shadow behind me. I turned. A man stood there, tall, silent, his face hidden in the dark. But his eyes, they recognized me. He said softly, "You'll never understand, Alec, until you see for yourself." And then, he vanished. My heart was pounding. I looked at my phone. Another message. "This is bigger than us. You're part of it now." I stopped. The darkness was closing in. Every sound, every shadow around me was a warning. But deep inside, I knew this wasn't just a story. This was the truth. Hidden, buried, waiting to be revealed. I asked myself one question. Will I be able to tell the world? Maybe. Maybe I am already on the path that will change me forever. Because this story isn't just mine. It belongs to everyone who has been silenced, who is afraid, who longs for the truth. And now, the time for the truth has come.